Hat, sunglasses, Pepsi, notes, sources, thick skin, check. You already know. Let's go. Golden Blooded is a college football YouTube channel for entertainment. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and let's get into our next college football video. Don't forget to send gear to represent your team. The address is P.O. Box 360, Liberty, South Carolina 29657. Yes, we are still doing that. Just wanted to put that reminder in there because I haven't reminded anybody here recently. The Big Ten is about to go through some dramatic changes. And I'm not just talking about the additions of USC and UCLA. I'm talking about new coaches as well. We know that Luke Fickell is now at Wisconsin. I think that's going to work out pretty well. I think Luke Fickell is a Big Ten guy. I think this is going to be a great combination. I think Wisconsin is going to have a lot of success with Luke Fickell. Nebraska went out and got Matt Rhule. That's perfect as well. Remember, Matt Rhule was a Big 12 guy. Even though Nebraska is not in the Big 12, they are a Big 12 type of team. They came from the Big 12. They're over there close to the Southwest, Midwest border right there. So I think Matt Rhule to Nebraska made a ton of sense. And Matt Rhule is known for building a program quickly. So don't expect Nebraska to be elite this year, but they could be elite in 2024 and 2025. Just be wary, Nebraska, if those bigger names with more money comes a-calling. He can bounce. He's done it before. He might do it again. I don't know if he'd want to try the NFL again. Maybe not if he has a ton of success at Nebraska. Nebraska has a lot of money. Listen, if Matt Rhule starts having success, back the Brinks truck back and keep him at Nebraska. It's as simple as that. I know you have the money to compete with the Texas, the Michigans, the Alabamas to some degree, the Auburns, all the teams that have a lot of money. You had the money to at least compete with them. So compete with them when it comes to the money if he starts having success. And we also have Ryan Walters over there at Purdue, who brought in Graham Harrell as his offensive coordinator. Ryan Walters is a defensive guy, so he'll fix the defense. Graham Harrell is a great offensive coordinator, so he can fix the offense. So I think Purdue's going to be a good team as well. Think the Big Ten West, and yes, the Big Ten will be going without divisions here soon, so that's another big change that they'll go through. But former Big Ten West teams, when it finally does go away, I think they're going to be competitive for that Big Ten championship because it's been basically whoever wins the Big Ten East, that's who's going to win the Big Ten championship. Well, in the future, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Wisconsin will be able to win some Big Ten championships, and Nebraska will be able to at least compete for Big Ten championships. And then there's USC and UCLA. I think they're going to struggle at first. I really do. It's going to take them a while to get their footing. I mean, not only are they going to be in a new conference, but man, it's across the country. And I do think the Big Ten is going to do everything within their power to make their schedule as convenient as possible. Remember, USC is going to be a moneymaker in the Big Ten. They're going to draw a lot of money for the Big Ten, so they're going to be one of those brands where the Big Ten will try to cater to them. Now, going without divisions, meaning no Big Ten West, that might hurt USC a little bit, but the Big Ten might keep that in mind still and schedule as many former Big Ten West teams as possible without trying to make it apparent that they're trying to kiss the rear end of USC. So the Big Ten is going to go through a lot of changes. I think a lot of good changes. If you look at the Big Ten since 1980, they've only won 3 national championships. Now, they've been represented pretty well in the playoffs. Ohio State, Michigan, and Michigan State. Better than the Big 12. I mean, yes, Oklahoma 3 times, and then TCU this past year. And the Pac-12 as well. I mean, the Pac-12's only had Oregon and Washington, and that was a long time ago. So they've done better than most, and even the ACC, only Clemson and Florida State have represented the ACC. So the Big Ten has done better than the Big 12, the Pac-12, and the ACC as far as representation in the playoffs. Now, winning the national championship, the ACC has them beat. Clemson with 2 national championships in the playoff era. Big 12 certainly doesn't have them beat, and certainly the Pac-12 doesn't have them beat as far as that goes. But for the Big Ten, they have struggled as far as national championships since 1980. Not playoff appearances, but winning the big one in the playoff era. I think they've only won 1, and that was Ohio State. And that was the very first one, so even that was a long time ago. What about beyond that? What could the Big Ten look like beyond that? Well, we already know that Oregon and Washington have applied to the Big Ten, but the Big Ten has said thanks, but no thanks, at least for right now. Maybe in the future, but at least for right now, we're going to have to say no. Here's the thing that I see in the future for the Big Ten. I do think that they will add some more Pac-12 teams because USC and UCLA will want that. They will need more travel partners. Otherwise, their schedule is going to be absolutely brutal. We know that the Big Ten is interested in ACC teams if those ACC teams do exist, which I do believe they exist. The 8 teams needed to nuke the ACC and get rid of the grant of rights, and teams will bolt. I do think that those 8 teams exist, and we know that the Big Ten is interested in some teams in the ACC. I think they're interested in North Carolina and Duke. I think that's a package deal. I think the Big Ten could be interested in Georgia Tech and Virginia. Virginia Tech, if they get their AAU status, they'll be interested in them as well, but right now they don't have it. So the 4 teams that I think the Big Ten would go after would be Duke, North Carolina, Georgia Tech, and Virginia. Having said that, like I said just a few minutes ago, USC and UCLA won't be happy about that. You will be adding more East Coast teams. That would just hurt their schedule even more. So make no mistake about it, alright? Let's be crystal clear about this. USC and UCLA will want the Big Ten to add more Pac-12 teams to help with their scheduling. Now, of course, we know Oregon and Washington have applied, denied for now, but I don't think that would help their schedule all that much. So the argument of, well, the Big Ten could add Oregon and Washington to help with the travel schedule of USC and UCLA, it actually wouldn't help all that much, because we're talking about the northern part of the West Coast and the southern part of the West Coast. And from what I'm hearing from Oregon fans, this could be just trash talk, but from what I'm hearing from Oregon fans, USC doesn't like playing Oregon anyway. So that wouldn't help their schedule. What teams would help their schedule and would make sense for the Big Ten to add? Well, as strange as it may sound, Stanford and Cal pop in my head. Okay, number one, yes, they would help with their scheduling and travel partner situation tremendously. 2 more California schools. It would make sense for the Big Ten as well. Those 2 teams, tremendous academics, elite academics, a crap ton of research money, grant money, academic money, all that stuff. Remember, there's more to it than just sports money. And Cal and Stanford have all that other money. So it would make sense for the Big Ten to add those 2 teams, and it would help with the travel schedule for USC and UCLA. And on top of that, maybe that would also encourage Notre Dame to join the Big Ten. Remember, the Big Ten still wants Notre Dame. All right, let's be clear about that as well. The Big Ten desperately wants Notre Dame to join the Big Ten. I don't know if they'd be willing to do a contract similar to what Notre Dame has with the ACC, or if it's full membership or bust with Notre Dame. I don't know that situation, but they want Notre Dame as a member. And adding Stanford and Cal, I think, helps because you're adding another rival of Notre Dame. You already added USC. That helps tremendously. Now you're adding Stanford. And really the only every year rival remaining after that would be Navy. And the Big Ten is not going to add Navy. And I don't think Navy would make a difference anyways. Notre Dame's going to schedule them no matter what. But they can make and or Stanford and USC as a conference game if they join the Big Ten. And that would open up the rest of their schedule. Oh, and I almost forgot Boston College. What if the Big Ten goes after Boston College from the ACC in order to try to attract Notre Dame even more? What if they go after Stanford and Boston College as a package? That's something to think about. The biggest thing for Notre Dame fans is we want to remain national. We want to schedule national. Well, guess what? The Big Ten is coast to coast. And if they brought in Stanford and Cal, they would have 2 of your big time rivals that you already play every year. So that would open up your out of conference schedule. And you'd probably have an 8-game in conference schedule. That still leaves 4 open. And if you add USC and Stanford as a conference game, then you're still opening up those other 4 games. And if you want to schedule, I don't know, BYU or Oregon or Alabama or whoever you want, you still have those 4 other games. You still have your rivals, and you're still a national brand. I'm telling you, the Big Ten adding Stanford and Cal makes a crap ton of sense. It would not surprise me at all. So Oregon and Washington, I know you're wanting to be in the Big Ten, but if I were you, yeah, I would be sweating. I really, really would. I know that Stanford and Cal doesn't add much as far as sports revenue goes, but they add a crap ton whenever it comes to that other money. And that matters, especially to the Big Ten. It matters to the Pac-12. That would be a big blow to the Pac-12, but that would be a massive addition for the Big Ten. And it could help lure in Notre Dame once and for all. Now, there is an argument for Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and Arizona State as far as the Big Ten pursuing them as well, but I don't think the Big Ten would be interested in those teams because they wouldn't have anywhere close to that other money as Stanford and Cal. Yes, they would bring in more sports money, but that's a drop in the bucket to the other money that Stanford and Cal has. But there is the argument that even those 4 teams would help with the travel schedule of USC and UCLA. So y'all let me know in the comments section, after I've explained this entire situation, how likely do you think that the Big Ten could actually add Cal and Stanford? And let's just say they do add Cal and Stanford. Do you think that they can finally reel in Notre Dame? And if you disagree with me, you don't think that the Big Ten will add Cal or Stanford, who do you think the Big Ten will eventually add? Because it's going to happen. Maybe it's those ACC teams I mentioned. Maybe it is Oregon and or Washington. That's all I got for you for this show. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on my next show.